Okay, so the recording started, and this is the first call on this week-long event on BodyShift. This is Monday, 10th of June. So, hello and welcome to everybody. This is being recorded, and the playback will be put up onto the event page on Facebook. So let's just take a couple of moments just to relax, be present. Breathe deeply, line up together. Let's intend to have a fantastic call, great conversation, and dive into this whole topic with vigor and vim. Let's see where we're going to take it. And let's have outstanding breakthroughs. So if there is any noise during the call and anybody is making noise, if you just put yourself on mute, and that'd be great. So I think I'd just like to start us off here with a simple question about who's asking the questions here. Because I want to make a very clear distinction about body and consciousness. Because I myself have had various shifts in consciousness over the years. My body has changed also over the course of my 67 years. It's not the body that I was born with. I've not got the consciousness that really came into the body. I know that. And I've been through all these different experiences. So I can, with a great deal of clarity, say that I've changed consciousness with quite regularity over the past 20 years. And because of that, I've been able to make distinctions about what I can do with my body. And I'm not so identified with my body that I'd say that I have aches and pains, I have problems, etc. My body has the problems. I want to make that quite clear. The consciousness, it doesn't have aches and pains. And myself as an energy field doesn't age. But the body, it's kicked up from time to time. But I bring myself into alignment with this physical self that I have grown very fond of over the course of all these 67 years. So let me just use that as a starting point. That there is quite a clear distinction between yourself as a consciousness with all your aims, desires, all the work that you want to do in this world, in this physical world, and what your body is capable of achieving on its own merits. So, Love, would you just like to say if you have that same type of feeling, if you have that same distinction for yourself?
Well, it's interesting. My relationship to it's similar, consciousness, being, and body. Yes, absolutely. And it's like there's pathways in partnership between them. And I love being able to, like, my body is intelligent and it communicates to me, but I'm also infinitely intelligent and it communicates to the body. So there's this partnership arrangement where it's malleable by me.
I would say that thing about relationship is very necessary. You cannot, for me, do the things that you really want to do in consciousness unless you have relationship. And it may be a partnership, it may be a different type of relationship, but there's almost like got to be some sort of meeting of the physical and non-physical. And we're just using body in a very vague, nebulous term at the moment. But I hope that as we go along, we're going to clarify exactly what it is that we're talking about. But for me, I've had over these past 20 years, various objectives. And during the past 7 years, one of these objectives has been to this exploration of physicality. And I held, for 7 years, a sort of like a workshop seminar about sourcing physicality. How do you source yourself in the physical world? How to raise the vibrations of something which may appear to be inanimate by itself, but actually it has its own consciousness. It has its own vibratory frequency. But I found out that what you can do as a consciousness, you can elevate the vibrational frequency to such an extent that actually you start to change what I'd say is the prime building blocks of the physical world. So let's have an experience. I don't want you just to hear the words, I want you to actually feel where the words are taking you. Let's just suppose for a moment that you are this grand force, this intelligence, this amazing creation that is able to elevate life, that is able almost like to bring to life something which is close to death. And scientists have been able to make experiments and see that that is possible. They haven't tested it on humans, they've tested it on pigs. The ability to be able to reanimate something which is close to death is a really fascinating subject in itself. But I want you to feel that you have that power, that you have an ability to actually to be able to do something to the cells of your body which elevate it, which animates it, which puts power into it. So however you think about yourself, I want you to also bring something more to this. I want you to feel that you're like the source of creation, that there is nothing that you cannot do. There is nothing that is, but there's nothing that is denied to you, and as far as the physical world is concerned. To be able to do that, you've got to almost like feel that somehow you're extending your own sense of power, your own range of consciousness, and changing your own definition about yourself. And maybe losing all sense of identity as you do that. Now I want you to feel that in your hands there is this strum of this vibration. And you feel it in your feet. Almost like you sense that you slipped into another world entirely. When you start to look at your body in a different way, you notice that it's not fixed in itself. You notice that there's movement, vibratory movement. You might even go down further and see that there's composition of light at different frequencies. And in that space, you can say to yourself with clarity and with assurance, that you are bringing quality of life to this space where consciousness dwells in this physical realm. And you can say to yourself, I am never going to feel any disease or disorder unless I choose it, unless there's a good reason for its occurrence. Because what I'm selecting and choosing for myself is an outstanding life of excellence and brilliance. But what I'm here for is to bring greatness in all the different aspects of what that means to people. And usually you might say that to yourself. You might feel that something settles into place. And if there are any thoughts that get in the way, you just move them out of the way. And you suddenly realize also that there's no separation between what you hold to be true and what actually physically becomes true. It's like something lines up in your body and accepts what you say without question because of this vibration resonance. And it takes no energy at all to do that. Because you find that there's that space in you already, in this physical world, that knows how to do all this. I can just switch it on in a moment. So come to yourself. Again, look at your body. Feel it. Sense it. Get a feeling about what your body is composed of, besides the blood, the tissue, the muscles. Yes, Dorothy, go for it.
I have to say, I love being in a physical body. It is just, it's never lost on me, the thrill, the miracle of it. I love this body, and it amazes me. It is my connection to the physical world. So that's why I'm in here, is to be connected to the physical world. And doing that with and through a body is, it just blows my mind that that's how it works. So it's how I create, but it's also how I interface with physical reality. It's a brilliant design. Like, it's an incredible design. It's portable. It's I can move in it. I can hug with it. It's just every day it's a thrill to me. I love this body that I'm in. It's incredible.
I see it as a place of power. I mean, I have had experiences of just pure consciousness. And in the pure consciousness, you're trying to get things done. But you don't have the same flexibility as when you're actually in the physical world. Because in the physical world, you can just almost like see the thoughts crossing your horizon, and you think, not those, not those, not those, but this. And when you suddenly start to realize that focus is a tremendously powerful tool as well, you grab hold of what it is that's really important to you, the things that you're here for, the things that make your life worthwhile, the things that give you actually something in return. There's almost like something to aim for. And it's like you lock onto it. And then, that's why I say you can differentiate between the things that have got energy and the things that don't have energy. The thoughts that don't have energy, the thoughts that have energy. For me, it's a very clear distinction. And sometimes if I think about something and I go, oh God, no, I don't have the energy for it. I don't do it. I physically cannot do some things. And that gives me a clear reminder that I shouldn't even attempt those things. When Solera says, shall we go? And I go, you can, but not this one, not this body here. This body says no. So, I get these feedbacks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Did anybody else want to say anything at this point? Yes, go for it, Laurie.
Oh, there we go. Myself. Yeah, I had a pretty wild experience of really kind of bilocating and a piece lifting out of me that was extremely fluid and became separate. And it's not going anywhere. It's right here. It's still there. And I've been having an issue going on with my leg. And it's like I'm being told it's a disconnect between these parts that are allowing that to be here. So it's like, okay, so I'm just going to ride with it and see what happens and bring it all back together when it's time.
Hopefully by the end of this call.
We'll see.
When you say bilocate, have you had this experience before, or is it just happening now?
Not the way that I'm experiencing it right now, not at all, no. So yeah, it's kind of like this new thing, like, oh, well, look, I just like this aspect of myself it feels like a double just kind of got up and moved out extremely fluidly, and it's showing me the fluidity of everything that's in my body and that none of it is, boom, like that. So I just will continue to be with it.
Okay, thanks. Pip, you're unmuted. Did you have...
I'm unmuted.
Yes, you're unmuted.
Oh, sorry.
But here's your opportunity to say something.
Well, when you were speaking, I was just really reveling in the feeling of it. Felt like I was very aware of the millions, if not billions, of cells that I've got in my body. And it was like all of them were, well, it's like a massive orchestra, and they were all dancing and vibrating joyously, which was a really lovely feeling.
Mm.
Yeah, and I was experimenting with, just bringing attention into different areas, and it's almost like there's a whole community, but then there's little communities as well. Which was really sweet.
I can see we can be talking for hours.
Yeah, lovely. Feel very energized.
So anybody else?
I'll jump in. I can say, Centauri, that I really felt a quantum invitation to accept the communication, the body, mind, and the greater consciousness of being in that perfection of rejuvenation and life and interconnection and communication, and the thrill of the senses actually becoming more quantum in its ability to make choices and have almost instantaneous, if not instantaneous, movement. And I felt a lot of activity in what people consider the old brain being lightened up and being in that active co-creation with my greater consciousness. And it was a wonderful feeling. It was very smooth, and it was very gentle, and it was exhilarating in terms of the enthusiasm that I have to communicate with life and the planet and everything else that I do. But it was quite lovely. Thank you.
I think what we do, we bring something into our field. We have an energy field. And what's been very pertinent to me is to see things in particular way. See things with magical eyes, see things with eyes of wonder, see things with eyes of beauty. To me, they're simple things to say, but that's the way I sort of like interpret things around me. We walk up the high street to the Bishop's Palace and to the cathedral, and I'm captivated all the time through that short walk, because this is like I've arrived somewhere. This is my city, this small little area of England, the smallest city in England. It's just like there's a community here which, it's cozy community, and which is just right for me. I don't like large communities, but I like cozy communities. I like to go somewhere. I like to look at the swans around the moat around the Bishop's Palace and almost like lose yourself there in just looking at the vista. And so we've come to this place, Wells, and it's very close to Glastonbury, and we have a fondness for Glastonbury, so we've called the whole area Avalon. This is Avalon. And what you want for Avalon, you want something that sparkles, that says to you, there's vibrational magic that's happening here. Just be open to that. Things, start to happen as you walk up Glastonbury High Street. And that, I think, is part of the joy of what it is that you're creating for yourself when you take yourself places in the physical world. You're going somewhere almost like in this fullness of anticipation to revel in these things that you see and that you feel and that you hear, and that your presence also that you take with you makes a difference. It resonates with the magic in Glastonbury. It brings something of the quality of the essence of what you hold dear to yourself, and you give it as a gift. And that for me is why I so delight in going to certain places. I'm drawn to those places, I'm resonating with those places, but also at the same time, I'm giving something to those places because I feel that I can impart something there, that is so me. And I think that's what we do. We find something that is us. And just like Rit on her travels, she takes herself to these places and she sends back the photos for us to see on Facebook. And it's just like there's something of Rit in those photos. She's seen the vistas, she's taking the images, but she's seen it in a particular way. And I think that is something which I love to see. I love to see what people are posting. I love to see something of their life through their eyes. And that is what I love to see of the world. There is something of excellence that we are gifting to the world. And I don't buy into the stuff that other people spread about. There's this and there's that. If you buy into it, your vibrational frequency will sort of like falter because there isn't the energetic love in there. There isn't the liveliness. What do we love in this world? We love the beauty, we love the magnificence, but it has to be there in us in order for us to be able to revel in it. And then I'd say, if you can't see it in the world, then you must bring it to the world. There's got to be something in you which is so powerfully existing that you want it to be in the outer world reality as you feel it in this inner world reality. Say I if you feel that too.
All right.
Oh, thank you. Again, does anybody feel that they want to say something about that? Okay, go for it, Sarah.
It was so fascinating when you led us through that. It was like I was taking a download of a new power of bodiness or bodyverse. I like your term bodyverse. And I think it's related to something's been shaping in my awareness over the last probably 6 weeks, maybe. And Aja posted this thing today about this, I think it was called a star bed. I don't know if it's actual reality, I hope it is. It's like, you know, in Star Trek, they had those, or maybe it was Stargate, they had those machines that you put people in and they come out completely healed.
Yep, yes, the esophagus.
Yeah, this article was talking about creating one of those. And it was saying how if there's an illness, then something is on its route to dying, and that what you do is you bring the energy to it and you revive its original shape, form, you know, cellular DNA, whatever it is. And I've been watching that evolve in my own consciousness over the last 6 weeks from a variety of things. And I think this new power that I felt got downloaded is relating to our ability to do that with our bodies, to re-energize, to revitalize, to rejuvenate, maybe even to make them new in some way. And I'm really playing with, I'm on this thing about the immortals, and I'm really playing with what's my belief system about aging, about physicality, and really kind of challenging all my belief systems to find a new powerful place. So I thought that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Cynthia.
I remember on my 50th birthday, I said to you, I'm going to live forever. And you thought, I don't think I'd want to live forever. And you gave all the reasons why. And I said, but, you know, that wasn't the game. The game was to break the mode of what people think about, you know, all these different aspects of life. And it was just like, take this out and take that out because it doesn't belong. And, you know, it was just like a taking out of stuff. And then what you have left is something that's pure God. Because, you know, it's what you know to be true rather than what you believed to be true. And, you know, it's like seeing all these scientific discoveries, you know, that are coming up about, you know, re-engineering, bringing something into the physical world which allows you to live a different life, to 3D printing organs. I mean, you know, it's like these are revelatory discoveries. You know, you wouldn't have thought that possible 20 years ago, you know, that you could do that type of thing. Transplants, organ transplants, yes, but this is on a different scale completely. It's like the level of thinking is sort of like being shifted gradually. So all these sort of ideas are suddenly starting to float about, and you still have to pick your way to feel your way about, you know, what you feel might be right for you in the long run anyway. But it spurs the conversations. And I think having the conversations and then finding, you know, that you, as I say, this is a place of power. You have a powerful state of consciousness which allows you to determine how you're going to live your life. And I think that's, for some people, that will be quite new and exciting, and it should be. It should be a spur to people to find out that they don't have to go around aging themselves. And, you know, I have a car park just outside my office window, and just down below, there's the parking for the disabled. And of course, I see the people getting out of the cars, and they're using, you know, the canes and the shakers and the bowed backs. And I'm thinking, maybe there's something that we can do about this. That it doesn't have to look that way. That you don't think yourself into this aging decline. But actually, when you start to feel a twinge in your body, you go, that's not aging at all. You know, the energy doesn't age. What's the beliefs? that perhaps I might have to reshape and re-sift for myself. And then you go on this odyssey about where you're taking yourself in the physical world. So, hi Britt, great to see you again.
Can I say?
Hi, Centauri and all.
Oh.
Sorry, I got lost off the call.
That's okay. Welcome back.
Um,
Yes, Aja.
I'll add something after Aja goes. Or I'll do it now, and then you can go. It was interesting. I'm still in a very inward place, but just this morning, what came to me was what do you know in your bones? Like what do you know to be true beyond? And so I've been percolating with that all morning. And a couple of things that came up is I am nature. I love infinitely, and I'm choosing to receive that love and more. And then also choosing this ease and peace in my body, even when and if the reality seems to be showing something else. I had the back issue that honestly has still been here, and sometimes there's quite a lot of discomfort. But it was interesting when I chose that this morning, and I was in a lot of pain and on my belly trying to get the vertebrae to rotate just to give me some relief. And I said, I'm choosing that. But then a little while later, I realized actually, something has shifted, and it's much better. And then now we have this call, and I just had lots of wonderful tingles and energy moving through. It'll be fun maybe to listen to that portion of the replay and see where else to go with it. But anyway, thanks for hosting today.
You're welcome. So, Aja, did you want to say?
Yes. So, can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Santari, thank you so much. And I wanted to say, I can't imagine what it's like to be with the two of you together, because you're both so poetic and speak so articulately. It must be like fantastic. I love it. Anyway, so for me, what's coming up is a lot of this health thing is about the lifting of the veils that we talk about a lot. When you were guiding us, I actually went to this place that I consider as the new earth. And I've been there before. And as immediately as I got there, I stepped on the ground and I felt my body just go like I'm just so happy to be here. And everything was just in alignment. And then I went on this journey, this ride, this very swift ride with this silvery white lion that I also know about. I mean, I'm not going to, I could go on and on about this thing, but what I want to share is I felt my body, an awareness of it being crystalline, of awareness. It wasn't the same body. It was, and now when I'm looking down at my legs, I see white, almost like a white crystalline opalescent. And when I was riding with this lion through this new earth forest, he brought me to the edge of this cliff, and then there's this mountain that I often see, and we leapt through the air, and we were landing on this mountain, and I think there is a leap that we're taking. Maybe there's a leap into the new earth, and these veils that are coming down. It's like what I feel is happening partly is also there's like what Solera was saying is they're called med beds, what she was talking about, the post I did, and it's real. I mean, I haven't been in one, but I believe it's real from sources, good sources, and there's more than, there's this thing called med beds, and it's amazing. You can go in there, your DNA can go back to whatever age you want, it's, you know, I could have like new teeth in like 10 minutes, all sorts of amazing things. And it's off-world technology that has been shared, and it's suppressed. There's a lot of technologies that have been suppressed, but that in this lifting of the veils and everything that's happening, we're going to have access to them. So that's part of, for me, it's like the energy rising, connecting, and also there's going to be through this change of consciousness, there's going to be revelations in which we have new things to, like these med beds. So thank you, Santari. It was just great. Just great. I love talking about this. I feel very inspired.
That's the idea. I just want to chip in before I ask anybody else. I create the reality in which I live. I'm consciously doing that. I know that I could slip it and I would feel things differently, but I consciously don't. I don't do that. And I've been doing that with the car as well. I consciously create the reality in which the car exists. And I'll tell you that there was one time a few years back where I felt that there wasn't the oomph in me to be able to do that. And it was just for a short period of time. And I said to Solera in the car, as we were driving along, I said, I don't feel that I've got the energy to be able to support the vehicle. 10 minutes later, car come in the other direction, kicked up a stone, cracked the windscreen. Okay. There was a proof, if I needed a proof, about what it is that reality creation is all about. You know, and I said, a little while later, about a day or so later, I said, I got the energy again. You know, I can support, you know, the reality. We lived in this place in Burgess Hill, by the way, and they consciously created the reality of that place as a magical haven. And when a guy came from Australia one day to visit us, he said, I see the dragon. I see the dragon above the house. You know, it's like there's a sort of like an ability to be able to create the reality in which you live in, you work in, you play in, to such an extent that that is it. No other reality exists for you. You walk in wonder. You walk in the fields of bliss and wonder. So I encourage you, if you're not already doing that, to play with it, to get yourself to, you know, to that place where you know it's the reality that you want for yourself. Shift your body into that reality as well, of course. It's almost like the whole thing is going to be seamless. It's like there's no cracks or gaps or crevices anywhere. It's like, that's it. You have the whole thing. And pretty soon when you say that to yourself, you wonder, can you go even further? And you say, yes, of course you can. What can you do? You got the whole world. You got the whole world there. And you're holding it in this vibrational place that you know it's just perfect in itself. The earth spirit was absolutely fantastic in holding it itself. But when you align with that, it's just like something opens up. You might say a portal opens, however you want to term it. But you suddenly find that your sphere of influence has extended tremendously. And it's not just you doing it. It's just like something with you is doing it. It's just like the whole universe has come alive and it says yes to whatever it is that you are now fully participating in. You want this world to be blissful, a place where children can laugh and have joy and have this moments of magical momentum starting to happen all the time. And the, you know, the feeling of it just evokes something of laughter in you. But it isn't laughter, it's a bubbling of something. And you say, yeah, yes, that's what I've come for. That's what I've come to show anybody else who hasn't yet had this experience. that it is possible. It is possible to be in a world of physical vibratory excellence. And I use this term excellence because it just trips off my tongue so easy. And that it's a real thing. It isn't a make-believe thing that will someday occur because you've put it into effect. It's something which is now, and it has its own momentum now, its own energy now, its own life force now, because you've also added to it. So I just want you to feel that that's true for yourself. And if it hasn't exactly happened in the way that I'm describing, then it will happen in your own terms, in your own way. So does anybody want to say aye to that?
I just want to say, as you were talking, and I was connecting to the power of this group is so powerful. I was just connecting with the power of the group and listening to what you were saying. And you used the term the bodyverse. And I've never had a problem taking my consciousness, my awareness into allness or into the universe. That's easy for me. And all of a sudden I realized maybe my body is also the universe. And something unlocked. Like you would think that's obvious, but really I've always, the body is the body and the consciousness is the consciousness. And all of a sudden the body was the universe. And it was like all this stuff was unlocking in me. That was really fascinating, Centauri. Thank you.
You have to have the experience. You can't just listen to the words. You can't read it. You got to, the experience has got to almost like be there in you. And you find your own way about talking it and languaging it and bringing it more so. Catherine, did you want to add something there?
I was going to add that as you were talking this time, I was sensing the idea of co-creation, of creators meeting creators, enhancing what they are seeing in the reality that they want to expand. And there was an effervescent, a real vitality of working with the spirit of nature, with the spirit of the planet itself, and moving into even greater and greater actual creative wonder, meaning something sparks and then new wonder appears. That you see, you go on a destination, as you were talking, going up the high street, but the high street has changed already, and that you're seeing it new again and again as these creators start to join. And I've noticed that when I was just in Scotland, or when I went to Asheville and around that in North Carolina just recently, that the people who may not have the words or the verbiage, but their bodies are already resonating with these new frequencies and these new expressions that the earth is bringing up. And seeing that, like you said, Solera, that the body is wherever we put our consciousness, and we're making it larger and larger. We're also taking the world into that frequency, into that co-creative essence. So where people have been walking in a world of someone else's creation, the idea of co-creative realities are now merging with an abundance of not just wonder, but abundance of the love, the laughter, the joy, the frequencies that create something totally new as two people come together and spark something never before created. And I'm seeing that more and more when I walk around, and I see when towns are sleepy and need to be a little goosed to wake up. So I wanted to share that, because I really think that as we begin to merge the creators of us together in these realities, something beyond what we have known before starts to appear.
I'd like to add that I've been very much in the background, I think, in the past few years. It's almost like I've been at a loss what I should use as a project or a focal point. And then very recently, it's just like I decided that I wanted to know more about nutrition. So I did a nutrition course. And then I wanted to really think more about all these things that people have talked about for ages, you know, the laying on of hands, people get instantly healed, etc. And trying to find that place in me where I know that it's doable and it's actionable, and is it the time yet for that to be brought to the foreground? And the answer is, yes, why don't you put yourself to it? Why not use that as a focal point? And so that's what, you know, this, for me, what this week-long event is about, that I'm putting something into effect for myself personally, but also, you know, extending the invitation to other people as well. Because I think we have to almost like think in different ways now, think bigger than before. Snow was saying to me the other day, she wants to take things to another level. And you wonder, well, what on earth is this new next level going to be? Well, it's almost like I feel inside myself, something just wants to emerge. And so I give it language. I give it a place to speak from. And so the words come easy because the doors are open and the ideas and the concepts suddenly start to emerge because I've been keeping them in a certain place, you know, for a period of time. And I think the joy is now I'm able to talk about things with more confidence, talk about things with the language that the frequency that I know is for the best effect. And so there's momentum. The momentum starts to gather. So, Santina, I know you sort of like wanted to speak a little while ago. Would you like to say what you were going to say?
Yeah, I wasn't, you know, I'm really enjoying hearing what everybody else had to say. And I actually have been in the same sort of place as you have, you know, for many years, sort of like kind of being in a certain place. And, you know, the word that comes to mind is almost like incubation. And when you first started out, and that word really has a huge meaning for me, because you started off by saying reanimate, you know, beings. And I would say that I probably was reanimated right at birth, because when I was born, I was a blue baby, you know, born upside down. And so I couldn't breathe. And so once they took me out, actually they had to bring me to a different hospital. So I was kind of touch and go kind of thing. There's no oxygen. And they had to incubate me for a month before I actually came to, you know, a certain way, the way I am now, I guess. So that really touched me when you said that. Just brought it right back. I hadn't thought of that for such a long time. But when you were speaking, there was a question that came to me, which was, what would you do if you thought of your body as your lover? Because, you know, there's a certain connection that happens between what I like to call like the yin and the yang kind of energies, and within that's where creation happens. It's like boom, right? Like the sparks, the energy. And so if we think of the body in that way, then we can also create certain things within ourselves, or recreate and reanimate whatever it is that we would like to do. And of course, you know, when you first find a new lover, I mean, it's so exciting all the time. So it's just something that I think I would like to think more on, because I think I like that analogy.
I think that's the place where you really start to explore.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take it as body as lover, then you've got to ask lots of questions. You've got to go into it deeply. You've got to put aside any thoughts that you might have about lovers and bodies as a completely separate topic, a new topic, a topic that hasn't been explored before, you know, that has no emotional resonance, which will take you down a different path. It's almost like there's a cleanness to it, a freshness to it, a pure place in which you're inviting yourself to go. And I found that applying oil to my feet and to my legs is something that I quite enjoy. I found out, I have this ingrowing toenail, and I had it for quite some time without knowing that I had an ingrowing toenail. It would give me pain from time to time. By putting oil on it quite frequently, regularly, no pain whatsoever. The oil seems to actually give it some sort of, I'm not sure, it hydrates it in some way. It has some beneficial value to my skin and to my nails. But that's what I like to do also in the shower as well. I'm applying the body lotion, and I love the feeling of stroking, etc., without it being weird. But it's like the enjoyment. And of course, I've done massage in the past, and sometimes my fingers want to do the massage again. So I had an opportunity the other day. I called in, Ian Lewis came to visit us. He had some problems with his feet. Great opportunity, Get the oil out, get the hands working again. They hadn't forgotten anything. But it's like your body knows it wants to do certain things. And I think you always have to go there and do those things and to have the fun of the doing of it as well. And something gets reborn in you as you do it.
Thank you.
I'd like to respond to Santina. I love that idea, Santina. And recently I've started dancing. I was a dancer when I was younger. I danced a lot, and I kind of stopped. And what I think about dancing and the body for me is it's our soul expression flooding our body, like what we want to do, how we want to move. It's not there's no program in it if we just improvise. And I think that has really improved my health. And it makes me think of what you're saying, lover, because we just do the natural, impulsive, we're following a deeper instinct. And I think a lot of why we have disease is we're not listening to our deeper instincts, our divine intelligence. So dancing or whatever makes us feel good in our body in that natural, organic way, I really think that improves health, or it has for me.
I'd say also when I've been telling people about nutrition, I've learned certain things, but at the same time, it's not about the learning. What I find is it's the way that you talk with people is actually the thing that makes the difference. It's almost like giving people the ability to find the level of resonance with food, with the love of food, with movement, as you say, Aja, with all sorts of different aspects of life which people have been separated from and don't know how to get back to the right relationship with. And it is the joy of being able to speak with people in such a way that they find their way back to where it is that gives them the greatest joy, in which they navigate, the frequency of the vibration of the movement or of the food or the love of nature, of the being able to relate to people once more, and to be able to find it in a natural way without having to go through a to-do list. This is what you have to do because, this is the way it's been done. And to be able to do things in the moment, dynamic, fresh, without thought, I think is a great gift. And that to me is what I bring to my physical world. I say I set certain things in motion, but I'm not going to have accidents on the road when I'm driving. Not at all. Nothing of any sort is going to go amiss. I hold that as a true thing. So therefore it becomes the true thing for me in this world. And I hope that I'm going to have amazing experiences, because I haven't come here to do the mundane. I haven't come here to go through the mill of life. I've come here as a fresh breath of wind, you know, to blow the cobwebs from wherever cobwebs have been, and to say to the world, there is an excitement that I'm ready to give you, you know, and this is the moment of the giving of the gift. And to all that want to receive gifts, here it is. In whatever form people want to receive those gifts, they will get those gifts. It may be that they'll hear things just in the quiet moments that says, you're amazing. Why haven't you spoken to other people about the gifts that you have got to give now? And there's in the quiet moments, I think, when people are no longer listening to the societal beliefs, but they find something of grace. They find a beauty of a movement that happens just so brilliantly without effort. Like someone has just unlocked these doors, you know, to the depths of the life which is wanting to be lived. And what's contained in those depths suddenly starts to rise up because it has been given space. And it is now the time for all of that to be given in its entirety to each person. So that, if anything, I'm here for that. So, what are you all here for? Okay, thanks, Dorothy.
I'll say that what I sense and feel is that direct communication of body presence, body embodiment, talking to another person, not the mind, the actual feeling, and then the expression of what that connection is. You talk about body lovers. Also, what about broccoli? What about the bird that's singing in the tree? Or the person that has just walked past you and has a fragrance you've never smelled before. These are the kinds of connections I think that you're expressing, that we have gifts to share, and there are things flowing through this that are not coming from the mind. They're coming from consciousness embodied, expressing energetically.
Boy, do I love broccoli. Solera, not so much.
All right. But the idea is that even Solera, you've gone from chips and ice cream to veggies and stir fry, and there's this exploration of the body-mind mechanism, wanting to see what that is now, with as the body is morphing into this new blueprint or this new design that we're creating, that ourselves and together, we're finding the substances in our environment and in our ecoscape that are already changed to provide for us. They're already changing in this reality and coming into communication and saying what is available, and do we want this, and how does it make us feel, and what does it give us, and how does it provide a life force and a life sense that goes with it. I mean, that's what I'm discovering and sensing. And I think in many ways, it's not, we are incubating a new way to express together things that can be shared, things that are new, that come through us to be provided for someone else. And the fullness comes when that other person has reached for it and merged with it and expressed with it, and actually expressed what it has done for them. And then it grows again. And it keeps growing as we are in the moment expressing or spontaneously delivering from our consciousness, from our existence, our experience, in communication with all that's around us. That connection, that life connection, that is so exhilarating.
So let's just take a couple of moments, just at the end of the hour here, just to line up together with all that we've talked about, with all the world that we're creating, with all that you've yet to share and to bring to the table, with everybody of like resonance. And feel that, you know, this whole conversation has changed something for yourself and for the world at large. That there is a shift that's taking place. And that you are right here in the midst of it. Okay, so let's see what's going to happen during the rest of this week. There's going to be another call on Sunday, same time, on Zoom, same ID. And also on the other intervening days, I'm going to do short videos, post them onto the event page, and also extend the conversation there, please. So you'll, you know, don't lose the momentum, keep the momentum going. Because it'd be really exciting and interesting to see what other people who are going to be listening to the recording as well, to see what, you know, as they listen to the recording, what changes for them, you know, how they are shifted as well. Thank you so much for being part of this. What words more to say?
Thank you, Santari.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Santari.
Santari.
You're welcome.